time, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Ellie B. From the Portland area with 2 years of continuous clean time. Ellie B! No key tags or anything? We're just going to have it roll? Okay. My name is Ellie and I'm an addict. I just want to take a moment just so my God can speak through me and get rid of myself really quick. All right, so thank you I want to thank Drew, but he's not here, for asking me to speak, and thank you, Valerie, for helping me, telling me what to do and all that stuff. So that's an honor. It was so funny because right before I came here, I was on the phone with my friends, and I was just telling her about how I was nervous, and, like, speaking's always nervous, and I don't know, like, what are these people going to think of me? Like, I don't know these people. Like, I'm from the other side of town, and she was giving me some encouragement, and I was just thinking about what I was like when I first got clean, and we were, like, just tank tops and furry boots into a speaker meeting, and I thought it was so funny, and I never thought I'd be speaking, and it's just really, really cool experience. So my story is really similar to a lot of other people's. I grew up feeling different. I grew up feeling like I didn't belong anywhere, and there was something wrong with me, and I always, like, separated myself, and I remember always doing, like, stuff to, like, get bad attention, you know what I mean? Like, I always just wanted to feel loved, and, like, I always compared myself to all the other kids, and, like, this kid's better at the sport, or, like, my brother's better than me because he's, like, super smart, and I remember, like, always just, like, annoying people, or, like, always, like, making, like, these huge mistakes, or, like, just trying to get, like, negative attention. Like, I didn't care what I did. I just wanted to, like, get some attention, and growing up, I didn't get born into, like, a horrible family or anything. Like, my family did the best they could with me, but there was this little girl that just wanted, like, I don't know, I always just felt like there was something wrong, and when I was younger, right around the age of 10, there was some abusive situations that I got put into, and that's kind of like where the cycle just, like, started for me, where it was like, this is how I'm supposed to be, and I'm just bad, and, like, I was mad at, like, this God, because, like, my parents were religious at the time, and I was just mad, and I was mad at God, and I was mad at all these people, and I felt like I couldn't trust anyone, and I remember hearing, when I first got clean, there was this guy who had, like, 20 years clean, and he was talking about how a lot of us addicts, when we're younger, there's a certain time where, like, we feel like we're not a kid anymore, and we have to grow up, and, like, the joy was lost. And I remember being a young girl and, like, feeling like that trust and, like, that joy was just, like, taken away from me, and it was just, like, on and rolling from there. The first time I picked up a drink or a drug, I was 12 years old, and it was a lot of fun for a while, and but I always put myself in really bad situations, and I always felt like a victim, and it was fun. And then I went to treatment for my first time when I was 15, and I could never, like, get any sort of clean time without going into an institution, and because I was always the addict who would want to get clean tomorrow, or, like, it's not this drug, it's this drug, and always having all these excuses, and I wasn't ready, but I'm so happy that I got put in that institution because it planted the seed for me. And so the first NA meeting I went to, I was 16 years old, and that was right after I got out of treatment. And I'm just really happy that I had someone in my life to take me to that meeting. I remember I was, like, detoxing on my friend's couch, my friend's neighbor's couch, and I was skipping school. I think I was 16 at the time, and I was just detoxing, and I was, like, so upset. I was like, poor me, look at me, and her mom came in, and she had, I think, maybe 7 years clean at the time, and she just started laughing at me, and I was like, what are you laughing at, woman? Like, don't you know I'm in pain? Like, can't you see that I'm in, like, pain right now? And this was, like, the first, like, Hope of Narcotics Anonymous I ever got, and she told me that, she's like, you always talk about wanting to be clean, and you always talk about how you want to be happy again, but you sit here and you just, like, berate yourself. And she was like, it's just, you look really pathetic right now. And I remember being like, what a bitch. Like, she's telling me I look super pathetic. Like, how rude of her. Like, how dare she say that to me? And a week later, I went to my first NA meeting, and I remember sitting with her and her friends, and they're all laughing, and I see, like, all these people hugging and smiling, and I was like, why aren't they, like, talking to me, and why aren't they, like, saying anything to me? And I remember, like, crying the first meeting. It was, I think it was Who Was an Addict. Someone was reading Who Was an Addict, and I remember I started to cry because I was like, maybe I am an addict. Like, I like drugs. Like, I was like, yeah, I know I like drugs, and, like, I don't really like to stop, but I was still in denial about my addiction, and, but I remember just, like, crying because, like, some of that denial got, like, like, a piece got broken off of it, and, so that was my first introduction to Narcotics Anonymous. But I continued to use, and I continued to put myself in bad situations. I fell in love with the dope man. You know, I got myself in some relationships, and, you know what I mean, just do the stuff that we do, you know what I mean, and caused myself some more pain. And the last week, I would say, of my use was, couldn't stay at my mom's house anymore, living in and out of different motel rooms off 82nd Avenue, and found myself at new bottoms, and it wasn't that I went to jail, and it wasn't that I was homeless, and it wasn't that I was, like, sleeping under a bridge or whatever. It was like that spiritual bankruptcy that I felt, and I just remember, like, seeing these people in these meetings, and, like, their heads just stuck in my head, and I remember just, like, being high for days on end, and just, like, thinking of these people, and finally it was just, like, enough for me, and I came to find out that was the gift of desperation, and like I said, I can never get clean time without going into an institution, so I went to a detox center, and I was there for around 10 days, and then I got out, and then I called someone from NA, and that was the best thing I ever did for myself, because at that point, when I would go to meetings before, I would never get the sponsor, I would never work the steps, I would never find a home group, I would never let any of you guys get to know me, because I was just so full of resentment. Why aren't you talking to me? Didn't realize I had to open my own mouth. Like, I never did these suggestions, and so I got out of detox, and I found a sponsor. That was the first thing I did, was I found a sponsor, and was unrolling from there. Got my first job clean. Like, I never had, like, a legal job before. I didn't even know what a pay stub was. Like, I remember being so surprised. Like, you're not going to hand me money with a rubber band over it. Like, I was so, like, I just remember being, like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I've not been living in reality. Like, you know what I mean? And it was, I got, like, a debit card. Like, it was, like, super cool. And, I moved into an Oxford house, and that was fun while it lasted. You know, but I struggled a little bit, and part of my story that I want to share is that I got clean when I was 18 years old, and I'm 20 years old now, and I had a lot of people tell me that, when I first got clean, like, you don't know what addiction is like, and I've shot dope longer than you've been alive, and, you don't deserve to be here, and that's not true. God damn it, I knew I was going to cry.
It's okay.
But I just wanted to share that because I see some young faces in here, and it's never too early to get clean.
Speaking.
And I'm not going to say that it's like a super easy ride being clean, and I'm not going to share the rest of my story since I got clean, like, saying about how great everything was, because I have struggled. But I've found some hope in this program. And I've just been willing to stay here. And, so, moving on. So I got a sponsor, and I started working the steps, and, first year in my recovery, I wasn't, like, you know, I wanted to stay clean, and, like, I worked some steps sometimes, like, I wasn't super vigilant about it or anything like that. You know, I'd pick it up, put it down, but a lot of my recovery in the beginning was all about, like, the fellowship, and, I stayed clean for a really long time by going out to coffee super late, staying up till 5 o'clock in the morning with people at recovery clubs, and, you know, doing stuff like that, drinking energy drinks all night when I had to work in the morning, and that was really fun while it lasted, and that kept me clean for a year, and it really did, but it came to a point in my life, in my recovery, where, like, that wasn't enough for me anymore, and I had a sponsor. My first sponsor dropped me. She she was going through her own personal stuff, and she wasn't emotionally available anymore, so I found a new sponsor. And I just finished my 4-step, and I was super angry. I went to a lot of late-night meetings where they told me the 4-step was super scary, and that all these people were saying I got loaded after I did my 1st step because it was so scary, and, like, that was, like, the message that I was hearing, and that's what I believed at the time. And, like, I felt like a victim still, and I remember, like, degrading myself being clean, not treating myself like a woman, you know, and just, like, I just knew, like, it was like I was getting clean again almost. Like, I remember feeling like being clean, like, I had around a year clean, and I remember feeling like I should, like, I know I could do more than this. Like, I know I'm better than this. And I had a sponsor who I was going to present my 4-step to. She relapsed, and that was a really, like, breaking point for me. I was like, I felt so alone. Like, I felt like all these abandonment issues, like it was like my dad left me again, and it was like the guy left me again, and it was like all these things came back up, and I was like, I was just like full of all this emotion, and I remember like reaching out to a couple women, and you know, I had to change my group of friends, and I changed the sponsor, and I like did all these different things, and I'm just like so grateful for the women in here, because if it wasn't for the women, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And these women just guided me through all this pain and like taught me how to be like a lady. Like I said earlier, like I would come into meetings with like furry boots and tube tops and like shorts during the winter time and like fishnets. You know, walk around, make sure to say hi to everyone in the meeting, even if I didn't know you, while the meeting was going on. And you know what I mean? And like I was just like tired of these behaviors, and man, I was just like, I just have some women in my life, and like some of them have come and go, and some of them aren't here anymore, but man, I just got it at that point, like when people said the women stick with the women and the men stick with the men, and you can't save your ass and your face at the same time. And I remembered that stuff. And then, like, all these cliches, I remember at that point, all these cliches started to make sense, like, just for today. Like, I remember hearing that at every meeting and being like, whatever, like, it doesn't make any sense. And keep it simple. Like, I remember hearing this stuff and being like shrugging it off. And, like, once I got desperate, like, it started to make a little bit of sense. And so God, I'm so nervous. I don't even know, like, if I'm saying the right thing or not right now. But where I'm at today, I guess, is I've accumulated some things, and that doesn't mean that it wasn't hard, and it doesn't mean that it's still hard, and, like, I have, like, this job, and I have, like, all these exterior things, and, it seems really good on the outside, but, like, I'm kind of, like, I'm getting to this point where I'm, like, super overwhelmed. Like, when I got here, like, I prayed for all these things. Like, I made a list. I was like, I want a cool car, a cool job, a cool dude. Like, I'm solid. Like, this is all I need. You know what I mean? And, like, now I'm, like, getting all these things, and, like, all this responsibility is coming up. Like, I have this job where, like, they trust me with a lot of money. Like, they trust me, like, at the airport. Like, I have, like, the security badge. Like, I'm like, don't you know who I am? Like, you know, trust me around cargo. Like, who are you? And it's kind of freaking me out a little bit, you know what I mean? And it's like a lot of fear has been set in for me, and it's like I just forget where I come from, you know what I mean? Like, I forget, like, that I was that girl off 82nd coming in here, like, trying to figure out how to be a woman, and man, it's just crazy. And I remember, super funny, I was just thinking about this. I remember being at Ocean Shores this year and complaining to my sponsor and her man, like, I don't have any sponsees, like, these girls don't like me, like, being, like, super resentful. And then, like, right when I got back from Ocean Shores, I got, like, 4 sponsees. And, like, now I'm just, like, I'm so grateful for these women, man, because, like, I'll be resentful, or, like, I'll be having a bad day, or I'll be feeling down on myself, and these girls call me. And, like, just hearing, like, this, like, desperation to stay clean in their voice is, like, powerful, man. Like, I'm willing to do anything to stay clean. And, like, and I love that about them. And I just love sponsorship. And, I love my sponsor and always think about her. And, like I want to be like her. And, like, you know what I mean? And she's helped me so much, because I didn't understand, like, the principles to the steps, and she's really helped explain to me, like, how to live my life differently, man. And I'm super emotional, as you can tell. And I take a lot of things really personally, and that's something I'm still kind of struggling with. And man, I think the hardest principle for me to practice in my life is acceptance sometimes. And I always want to change you, or like change the situation, or like I'm mad because you've done this. And man, like the acceptance piece is like huge for me, and that's something I try to practice every day. And man, I was reading part of the book. Can I read part of the book?
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I was reading this cool book today. You will sound why. And I was reading out of Tradition 1, and something that I'm still struggling with today is like resentments, man. And I just presented a 4-step, and like seeing these resentments, and even though I still see my part, like I still see resentments, but you know what? Like that makes me feel so ugly today. Like I used to thrive on resentments, and I used to like love hating you, or like love bashing you and all of this stuff, but like, man, like it makes me feel ugly. And so I was reading this Tradition 1, I'm trying to find some hope and change. So I was reading this, and like this sounded super powerful to me. And it says, just as anonymity is the spiritual foundation of our traditions, the unity spoken of it in the first tradition is the practical foundation of which we may build strong and successful groups. Each succeeding tradition builds upon the strength of our unity as a fellowship, recalling the vital importance of the common welfare to each individual member and group. With unity as our practical foundation, we find that our relationship with one another is more important than any issue that may arise to divide us. No problem or disagreement is more significant than our need for each other's support. The fundamental importance of our common welfare strengthens our understanding of all our other traditions. Many questions can be answered simply by determining how the action we contemplate will affect the unity of the fellowship. Will this serve to divide us, or will it bring us closer together? And that really helped me, man, because sometimes I'll get, what is it that people always say? They always say surviving the fellowship. Is that the thing people say? And I've experienced that, and I've experienced some isolation in the rooms where like I felt different than, or like judged than, or like all this drama, and like just feeling different, because I'm still there's still a part of me that little girl, you know what I mean? Feeling abandoned, different, like less than, like whatever, whether it's like my age, my car, like the way I look, or like whatever, you know what I mean? Like I still see those differences sometimes, but this really helped me, man. It's just like we just have to stay clean and help each other. And I forget how important it is about one addict helping another is without parallel. And I'm just so happy that I have some women that I can help and some people that can help me. And I don't know, how much more time do I have left? It's just like
plenty.
I have plenty of time left. Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't know what else to talk about. I'm so stressed out.
You can take a minute. Read something. Reflect.
I don't know. But I think what Narcotics Anonymous has really given me is like the hope. When I came here, I didn't really have a lot of hope, and even like sometimes like being clean, like I wanted to lose faith, or I wanted to lose hope, and I just remember like the God that I had when I first got here is so much different than the God I have today. And I remember how like prayer was like so hard for me, and like I just remember getting clean and like the relationship I had with my God, and how different it is now, and how when I first got clean it was like I wouldn't even like speak out loud, and now like, and I know everyone has a different way of praying and a different practices and stuff like that, but I remember being like so afraid of a God, and so like nervous, and like not having hope, and like my sponsor would keep on telling me to just keep on trying and keep on trying. And like now today, like there's been times where like I've wanted to like get loaded, and there's been times where I wanted to just not participate, and there's been times where like I've just wanted to like just give up and leave and just move to another state or something, but because it's all in my head. And my God is the person who carries me through my stuff today, because there's been times where it's late at night and I get in my head about something. I don't know if you guys do that, but girl. and no one can answer the phone, and it's like 3 a.m. or something, and no one can answer the phone, and I just remember like there's this one incident. This was like 6 months ago, and I was like going through my own set of stuff, and I remember like wanting to drink really bad and thinking that that would be the solution for me. And I remember calling all these people. Like, I called my sponsor, I called like 3 of my friends, and I remember just like no one was answering, and I was like, oh damn it, why are these women answering? Don't they know I'm in pain? Like, and I remember just how like desperate I was for something, and I knew I didn't want to get loaded. Like, I knew I didn't want to. Like, I knew that wasn't going to be a good option for me. Like, I played the tape through, and I knew that would never end up good. And because what happens when I pick up is not pretty. And I remember, like, it sounds so weird, but I remember, like, holding on to my basic text, and I remember just, like, shaking and trembling because I was just so upset, and I remember just, like, holding on to this, like, basic text, and, like, I wouldn't let it go, and for some reason, like, it made me feel really safe, and it made me feel, like, at home, and, like, that saved me, and I remember just praying, like, and I was just, like, on my knees, and I was just bawling, and I was just, like, so sad clean, and, I don't know if I was, like, grieving at the time, or, like, I don't really particularly remember what issue it was, but I was going through something emotionally, like, draining, and I remember just, like, holding onto this book, and I remember just, like, on my knees bawling, and, like, I felt the energy of my God come into me, and, man, like, that's the most powerful thing ever, and, because I always knew there was a God. I always knew there was something out there, even though, like, I felt resentful, and I felt angry because of all this, like, trauma and, like, crap that happened when I was younger, and, always feeling like a victim and all that, but there was some hope, and I really got that from the 12 Steps in Narcotics Anonymous, was some hope, because every time I go through a step, it seems like there's something else, like they always say, like another layer of the onion getting peeled off, and I know that every time I do some work around something else, or I'm on a different step, and like something else gets brought up, like I get in pain, but every time I present, like I always feel so much better, and I remember like every time I do step work with my sponsor, and I learn this new spiritual principle, like, yeah, I can I can understand what compassion means. Like, I can look it up in the dictionary, but, like, actually, like, trying to figure out my own understanding and how I can apply it to my life is, like, super powerful to me. So when I came here, I thought I kind of knew it all, you know? Like, I remember having 90 days clean and, like, thinking, like I got this, and, like, I know more than you, or, like I felt like I heard everything and knew everything, and, I feel like the longer I stay here, the less I know. And, because there's always something else coming up, always something new, and I'm just really happy that I have that. And so I'm super nervous still, and I feel like I shared a lot, and I'm just going to read this. In a sense, step 12 encompasses all the steps. We must make use of all of what we've learned in the previous 11 as we carry the message and practice the principles of recovery in all of our affairs. Individually and collectively, each step has contributed to the extraordinary transformation which we know as a spiritual awakening. Many of us have wondered how the spiritual awakening comes about. Does it happen all at once, or does it occur slowly over a period of time? While there may be great variations within our experience about this awakening of spirit, we all agree that it is a result of working the steps. And like I was saying earlier, like when I got here, I had like such a small list of what I wanted for myself, and like today, like my ambitions are becoming larger and larger and larger, and it's like a beautiful thing because I feel like I can obtain these things now. Like, and I've had so many people in here support me in different areas, like with my job, and like, you know, I never thought that I would be a good employee, and like now, like I have this job where like I've gotten like all these promotions, and it's super scary, and like, you know, it sounds cool, like, but I still struggle, and like these people, like I struggle in work sometimes with these people that like my bosses, like they really do care about me, and like they want to like sit down with me and like help me, and like just last week, like I had a meeting with them, and they like sat me down, and they're like, hey Ellie, like what's really going on? You know what I mean? Like, we see this acting out in your work, and it makes me feel so important that I actually have, like, some employers that respect me and want to keep me there, and that's kind of, like, where I'm at today, is, like, with my work, and figuring out, like, my goals with work and, like, what I want to do with that, and I never thought that I could be an employee or a good employee or a boss when I got here. I'm a boss now, so that's, like, crazy, and sometimes that scares me. It really does scare me sometimes, being someone's boss, but I know that it's just, like, growth for me, and it's constant growth for me, and it's a struggle being a boss sometimes, and it's hard telling people what to do, and it's hard calling people out on their shit. Man, and it's hard, and it's hard being someone's boss, and it's hard telling people how to change and how to help them, and being a mentor and being a leader, and because I have to go into work sometimes regardless of my circumstances, and I have to put a smile on my face and help these people and be a good example for them. And sometimes, like, man, I'm so emotional sometimes. I just want to, like, let it out, and, like, my body language is always so, like, you can always tell when I'm upset. And, like, now I'm just, like, you know, and so it's, like, and it's just, my job has really been, like, a place where, like, I get to apply principles in my job, and I have to be a leader, and that's hard for me, man, because I still struggle with the self-esteem, like, that big ego and self-esteem, man, like, trying to find a balance in there, and it's really freaking hard, but my job helps me a lot, and it's, like, kind of become one of those, like, passion things, and I found a passion with my job, and because I got here, and I kind of was, like, I wanted to find myself, like, I was, like, who the fuck is Ellie, you know what I mean, like, because when I would make friends in the streets, I could be, like, do you like this dope, like, we're best friends now, or, like, you like this, like, we're best friends, you like this, steal cars too, like, awesome, you know, and it would just be, like, you know, like, that's how I made friends, and so, like, and that's how I built relationships, and they were just so, like, surface level, and, like, now I just get to, like, constantly work on myself and sit down with these people, and, I just feel, like, super blessed, and, I'm just really happy that I haven't given up through all these hard times, because, my biggest enemy is me, and, you know, my biggest enemy is me, and I struggle with that on an everyday basis, and it's something that I work on to continue to make myself better, and, I'm just super happy that I have some tools, and I've always kind of felt like it's me against the world. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that way, but I've always, since day one, I always felt like it was Ellie against the world, and all these people are against me, and that's why when I was reading out of Tradition 1 about, like, the unity and how, like, these little like, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but all these little things are not as important, like, it just really reminds myself about where I need to be at, and how important, like, the small relationships have been, and how lucky I am to have them, and, how much longer do I have now? Because I think I'm done.
Okay. Good.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.